Good evening. Welcome to the Hartsdale Neighbors Association School Board candidate interview. In a moment, I'm going to be speaking to Antoinette Darden Cintron. Briefly, HNA is a group of passionate volunteers who foster neighborhood engagement, community-based problem solving, enhance civic awareness, and provide a vehicle for interaction on community-based efforts, which brings us to this evening.
Yes.
Welcome, Ms. Darden Cintron. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. Thank you for HNA hosting another candidates night. It's a great opportunity for candidates to speak directly to our community. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You are welcome. It's a pleasure. These questions have been aggregated from previous community submissions, but
Okay.
also are based on HNA leadership's presence in the school community over the last year.
Okay.
So to begin, please, would you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're running for school board? I'm going to interrupt you before you even start to remind you and our interview watchers that we have a 3-minute time limit. So I will be timing you. You may begin when you're ready.
Okay. So my name is Antoinette Darden Cintron. I moved to Hartsdale about 14 years ago. I would always say it was one of the greatest decisions that I could ever made. It was an opportunity for me and my son at the time to sort of start over. I have one son. He is a Woodlands graduate. I'm very proud of him. He is now at the prestigious Tuskegee University in Alabama, and he's doing and thriving really well. Um, I loved Greenberg from the second that I really came here. I just felt really good in my neighborhood. My son was participating in the TDCC programs. It's been a great experience living here. I will say that. Why I would like to run for the board. I think that there is, I think the community would agree, there's lots more to do. And the time sort of goes by pretty quickly. Another board member said to me, and I really agreed, your first 3 years, it's like a boot camp and you're just learning. You don't really get into the pocket of what it all is really after that time frame. And so my last 3 years really has been when you gain a little bit more confidence, you start to learn more questions to ask, you start to request more specific information. It's really when you start really doing the hard work. And I just believe that there is more of that to be done. I am a servant leader. I've done this all my entire life, volunteering. It's important to me to give back where you live. And I'd like to continue to do that. There's lots more, I think, for our district to do, and I'd like to do it together with our community.
Excellent. Thank you. In what ways do you think the school district is succeeding? And in what ways do you think we still need improvement?
I think we're succeeding in a few areas. Like one of the things that sort of stands out, and it's easy to stand out because it's visual, which is like our communications, especially like our social media. We from the time I've been in the community to now, it's really a stark difference. You do see our presence in many places. And I think that's one of the things that we really have been exceeding in not just social media, but also the exposure that our students have been having, whether it's being on a television show, whether a movie is being filmed on our campus. There are so many things that really shines a light on our district. And I think when that happens, not only do we possibly get more people coming to our community, but I think the more it uplifts this community being such a focus in a positive way. And I will say that's something that has been really great. I remember when I first moved here, you used to hear a lot of negative stuff, but I think through these measures, the image or the thought about our schools is changing. The other thing I think is good, I think we're had a good introduction of our programs, whether it be ALP, our world languages, the IB diploma program. We've started something really good, and I think that as we continue and we make sure that those programs are constantly evaluated, measuring for the fidelity of those programs, providing key support to all of the staff that come together to make those programs happen, and most of all, making sure that those programs touch all of our students, that there is higher levels of participation, and that there is diversity in that participation as well. Oh, wait. You're on mute.
I swear, you'd think I'd never done this before.
It happens all the time.
No.
It happens all the time.
All the time. You know, we have a second part to that question, and I want to make sure you have the time to answer it. So you're winding down on your 3 minutes, but I'm not going to hold you to your 30-second limit. I'd like to hear you answer. Where do you think the district needs to be improved?
Oh, I'm sorry. Where did we think?
It's okay. Go for it.
I would say it's still, to me, it still is, of course, the other obvious area is our facilities. 100% sure there's work there that needs to be improved. I'm going to jump back to instruction. I think there's areas that we need to improve there. And I look forward to that change continuing and happening at a deeper level where we are going to see steady improvements. And I want to see those areas that we really have difficulty in certain grades, that they are really moving and advancing more. So that's the areas I believe that we need to, there's still improvement needed.
Great. Thank you. And that was very concise. Thanks.
I'm trying.
You're doing great.
If I'm speeding through it, I'm just conscious of the time. So I'm like, let me make sure.
We are recorded. We're keeping the time limit out of a courtesy to the people who go back and watch all 7 of these interviews later. So we are plowing through, but
that makes sense.
We're also speaking as human beings. Your next question is, what are your expectations of our new superintendent in their first year on the job?
To me, I think she's going to bring a lot of passion and a lot of energy. She is a instructional leader, and what that means, her work is grounded in how does she help support student learning, student advancement. My expectations, and I have spoken to her, she has said things in our community forums. I love the fact that she's going to come in and she's going to take her time her first year visiting all school buildings, visiting classrooms, meeting with administrators, and meeting with our community and families to get a sense of where we are and where we need to go. And not only that, how we need to get there. I think she's going to come in and do a deep dive. She's known for turning around schools and increasing instructional success. And so that's what I'm really looking forward to. And she really believes in the power of the people and the power of the community and bringing all people together to make sure that we have success. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Excellent. Thank you. I apologize for the dog in the background. He's going a little nuts.
I always say there's no apologies on Zoom, especially with things like that, because we're doing this in our homes.
Yes, we are.
It's the reality of COVID, so it's okay.
Yeah, thank you. Please, can you tell me about a time you've had a positive influence in a board meeting, community forum, your choice?
Okay. Let's see. I think one of the things that sort of stands out to me is when I was I think I was the chairperson at the time of the education committee. And one of the things that I had suggested to the assistant superintendent of curriculum was that if we could bring some culturally responsive learning to our district, where we are embedding all of our cultures in, not only just in our schools, in the activities in the building, but we're embedding that in our classrooms. And so it was it was a great idea, I will say. And the assistant superintendent of curriculum actually purchased a book that was used district wide, and that all of our staff was actually trained in culturally responsive education. And so that was something that I think anybody who's on the board, or whether you're a parent that you suggest something, that is something that's really great to see, that you were able to add something that actually came to fruition. So that's one of the things that I really remember, and what I really like about being on committees, because I feel like you get a little bit more into the grit of things that way.
I'm just curious, we have a hot second left on this one.
Okay.
Is that training ongoing?
That training, I believe it's ongoing. I know the last time that we talked about it, we would always get like updates like, okay, so this amount, the teachers assistants were trained into it. Oh, the administration was trained to it. I think at this point, if I'm correct, and it is still COVID, so all of it sort of blends together. But I believe the last group did participate in it. I would be curious to see if there is another level of training, but more than that, I would be curious to see again the fidelity of that training, and how is it showing up in classrooms.
Yeah, interesting. Thank you. What is your greatest strength as a leader, and in what area would you like to improve your leadership strengths?
My strength in leadership, I would say, is trying. You need cooperation, but I will say, trying to ensure that we're all on the same page as much as you possibly can be. I think one of the other strengths of my leadership, is I really try not to, even when things might hurt, I try not to let it sort of dissuade the work that needs to be done. Um, Even when, and this can be hard for a lot of people, and even with me sometimes, but it's a part of, I think, being a leader, excuse me, as a board member, and being a leader, as a president, that you're not always on the majority of side of a decision. But I take it serious that when a decision is made, a decision is made. And I need to do my part to make sure that we move forward with it. Whether it was something that I said yes to, or gave consensus to or not, that is the role. The role of a leader is to lead um, the board, and to do so even when it may not be what you wanted. It's, you can't take it personal. You have to just move forward, communicate, um, and do your best to implement what needs to be done in a way that is respectful of all. Because sometimes when change happens, it may not be the change that you wanted, but again, you got to be respectful of the process. So I think that's my strong point. I have some areas that I love to continue to grow as well.
What would those be?
Oh, I would say, I think that as a leader, you also have to give yourself grace. Um, because if you don't, you could really have some struggles. And I am extremely hard on myself. Those who know me, I hold myself to a really high standard. I'm very hard on myself, and I internalize that. And just as people, and I think specifically as women, we always try to pride ourselves on being a good mom, being a good worker, being this, being that. And sometimes we may not always measure up to that. And we have to give ourselves grace to say things happen. And but you have to be able to manage that stress and be able to give your own self grace and to be supportive to others, but also supportive to yourself, because how can you be a leader if you're not, you know, helping yourself and making sure you're healthy in the process.
Thank you for that. Switching directions slightly, the budget for next year has been proposed. We hope residents will vote to approve the budget on May 18th, please.
Mhm.
What do you see as the top 3 budget priorities moving forward?
Um, Top 3 priorities. I would say one, curriculum. Curriculum. Making sure that what we have is working well. If it's not, we need to move on. And what is working well, we need to bump it up and pump it up as much as we possibly can. We need to make sure again that the curriculum that we're using, it is working. It's creating success for students and also success for teachers as they implement those. So I think we need to make sure that our money is used to support our programs. The other thing that I would say is, of course, our facilities. Um, that the defeat of the bond was very eye-opening, and I think as a district, as a board, we have lots to prove. We have lots to prove, and I think that how we spend our money, our budget, how we save, and how we use that to show that, hey, we're responsible, we're doing this, this is, and putting it out there, this is what we're working on. I have always said it, I have been saying, we need to, I think, really focus on our envelopes. We need to focus on our roofs. We need to focus on our buildings and really prove to this community that we take what's happening or what has happened over the 40 something years. I think during that time, some of the board members that were here for a long time said they sort of passed the buck on making repairs. I think now it is time to prove that that's done and over. And I think that if we incrementally pick a building, fix the roof, fix the envelopes, and show that we're doing it, and then we move from there and go ahead and do another one. I think we have to make sure that those things are being taken care of in a way that our community sees that we're being responsible about that. The other thing I would say is, I think comes hand in hand with all of that is the support of our staff, the support of our current staff, making sure that they have the training they need, make sure that they have the support that they need, and also making sure that we are always on the horizon bringing in new talent to add to our school district as well. So those are the priorities that I, believe should be a part of our budget.
Thank you. Our final question, actually.
Oh,
No, this goes super quick. This is a little bit of a big one,
okay.
but anyone interested to learn more about you may search online in this day and age.
In this day and age.
What will they find in a Google search, and what would you like them to know about it?
I don't know. I tend to like to stay away from that. I try not to Google other people. I try not to do that. The only people I really Google is if I have a date, then I'm gonna see if I can look up and find something on that person. But other than that, I'm not really sure. I would assume there's gonna be things tied to the work that I do. So I'm sure there's going to be, I'm so sorry. It sounds like my board iPad is ringing. I'm going to assume there's going to be things, of course, tied to my work, being a school board member. I'm also going to assume my PTA affiliations. I was on this New York State PTA board for a very long time. I was also a region director for Westchester East Putnam PTA. So you're going to see a lot of those things. There's a lot of PTA videos that they force us to do. So you'll see a lot of those, I think, will be on there. And you might even see a little bit about my side business. I plan events. So if anybody has a wedding coming up, please call me. I do fabulous work. Those are some of the things that I see. But I will say this, instead of Googling, give me a call, send me an email. If we can socially distance and be somewhere in a park, that would be a great opportunity. Search, but if you have questions or if you just want to know more, reach out to me. I'm very open to that. And I think being on this box for over a year, to me, it's time to get off Zoom and time to really have authentic conversations in person.
Thank you. And while you're still on the box, if you're interested in working with the Hartsdale Neighbors Association, to the community at large, this is not another question for Ms. Darden Cintron, you can reach us at info@hartsdaleneighbors.org or on social. Thank you, Ms. Darden Cintron. I really greatly appreciate your time and we wish you all the luck.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to meet with me and allowing people to get to know me a little bit better. And I will say, Samantha, I don't know if you're giving out prizes for time, but we'll see if somebody can beat my record here, okay?
I'm going to hold you to that. We're going to try. We're going to try. We're going to get
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Samantha.
Have a
I
lovely
appreciate it.
evening. I
You
appreciate
too.
it too. Good night.
Good night.